Is everyone able to hear me? All right, thank you. All right, I will go ahead and get started. For those that I haven't talked to before, my name is Daniel Holliday, and I help business owners build their business credit profile. And feel free at any point during the presentation to stop and ask questions. That way, I don't just hear my own voice in an empty room. So I do recognize a few names. Hi, Dana. I think I've talked to Angela in the past. And we'll go ahead and get started. So Tamika wanted me to come on and speak about, why it's important for investors to have access to business credit. So if you're trying to build a business, there are two goals that you should certainly have as a business owner. One goal, of course, is to become profitable. And then another goal should be to actually scale up your company or hire employees. So in order to do that, you're going to need capital. Capital that's not linked to your personal assets, not linked to your social security number. So that's what business credit allows you to do. Now, with business credit, how many of you all are actually familiar with the DUNS number, or do you have your DUNS number? Do you have one? Okay, it sounds about half of you have it, half maybe you're still in the process of getting that DUNS number. So one thing you might not have known is when you actually started your entity, a DUNS number was created for you, for your business. They just didn't tell you that there was one out there waiting for you to request that number. But if you've actually gone through the process of establishing your, either your LLC or your other entity type, you do have a DUNS number out there for your business. There's a website you can go to actually request that DUNS number. I can provide you. And it normally takes, it should take less than a week, realistically. Some people I've talked with have had troubles getting access to that number. Just realize it's a free number. And normally the reason they may have trouble is because, whoever they're talking to is trying to get them to pay for that number. But that number is free. It's your right to get that number. It's also important to have your DUNS number. At some point, you may want to do government contracting. So you should have access to your DUNS number because, the federal government is going to require you to provide that number to them. That way they can actually track where the funds are going that you've contracted with them for. Also, as an investor, if at any point you're trying to do, fix and flips, you want to be able to put those expenses, the property you're purchasing, you should have access to lines of credit for your business. And then also, if you're ever trying to do commercial development, there's a lot of companies out there that offer business credit that you can get access to their supplies, to their equipment. So let's say you're trying to build an apartment complex. You wouldn't just go out there and purchase, all that machinery. Most companies are renting those, heavy equipment, that heavy machinery to actually do their construction, their commercial development, and then they're returning that to the companies they rent them from. And again, feel free at any point to stop and ask questions. So those are just some of the few reasons why you'll want to have access to business credit. If you're ever trying to do commercial development, if you want to do fix and flips as an investor, or if you want to do government contracting, you should have access to your DUNS number and be building your business credit profile. That way, when you need those things, you already have access to them. Now, okay, who has the question? And I can't really hear you all very well. So if you can either turn your volume up or just speak up, I should be able to hear you better.
Okay, Melissa.
Melissa?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Hi.
There
Okay.
you are.
So
Okay.
does it have to be a real estate business?
It does not have to be a real estate business. I just use that example because that's the field I work in. I'm a realtor as well. I'm not sure if you work in the real estate industry, Melissa, but I have a real estate license. I also invest as well, and having access to business credit for any business owner is very important.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question though. The process looks the same whether you're real estate business, whether you are, let's say, a restaurant. Those initial steps to building your business credit profile will be pretty much the same. So what I'll do, if I can find it really quickly, I'll do a screen share, which is helpful as I'm explaining the process of building your business credit profile, and then we'll walk through that process visually. All right, so I'm gonna do a screen share. All right, screen share. Okay. All right. If you're able to see my screen, just give me a thumbs up or just say, yes, you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So when you're building your business credit profile, what you're doing is leveraging both your EIN number and your DUNS number to get access to capital, essentially. Now, the process of building that business credit profile is a delay on my end. There we go. Okay. So when you're building your business credit profile, that EIN number, again, it gives you access to capital in your business name. Now, one thing I always share with business owners is this slide right here. It talks about the percentages of businesses that actually fail. Now, you can look through some of those first bullet points, but the one that I really want to point out to you all is the very bottom. This is from Fundera.com from July of last year. And it talks about just the failure rate of businesses. And it was pretty surprising to see that about 70% of small business owners fail in their 10th year of business. Now, that would be definitely just a very traumatic situation, in my opinion, to spend those 10 years trying to build a business just to have it fail in that 10th year. And one reason that we all know, we should all be aware that most businesses are underfunded because when that business was started, they were pulling from their personal assets. They were able to get by, maybe the first year or two, and then you experience some lean years if you're not able to grow. But if you stay in that startup phase for a long time, you're going to have a tough time growing. I think I hear somebody. So again, having access to capital is very important. That way your business isn't just stuck in that growth phase and you're able to grow your business. So here are some differences between your consumer credit profile and your business credit profile. When you're trying to build a business with your EIN number and your DUNS number, it's going to look a little bit different than your personal credit. So when you have your consumer credit profile, you're borrowing in your social security number. It's going to take a little bit longer to build that personal credit profile. And then the scores are based on a variety of factors. Of course, payment history, outstanding debts, types of credit, pursuit of new credit, and then your length of credit overall. For your business credit profile, it's going to be based primarily on how well you pay your bills. Are you paying your bills late, or are you paying on time? That's how they're going to be scoring your business credit profile primarily. There are other factors they use to figure out your score, but the payments you make to your account holders and your vendors that you use for your accounts, that will really determine how your credit score looks for your business. Okay. Now, when you think about how your business credit profile is scored, there's a whole different algorithm of how they determine what your score is. For personal credit, that goes up to 850, but with your DUNS number specifically, that's the DUNS number that you're going to get from Dun & Bradstreet. They have a Paydex score, and the Paydex score ranges from 0 to 100. And 100, of course, is being the perfect score. And they're going to rank you based on how you're making your payments. And then also you have a business Experian platform and you have a business Equifax platform. But the score that most companies use and rely on is going to be that Paydex score that Dun & Bradstreet issues. Okay. Now, here are some differences between personal credit and business credit. When you have a personal credit account and you make a late payment, oftentimes if you pay that late payment within a certain number of days after it's due, they will sometimes issue you a grace period. That's not the case with business credit. If you're paying even 1 day late, they're going to notify Dun & Bradstreet on that first day, letting them know that you paid that invoice late. That's why it's important. Again, the payment history is what's going to impact your score the most. With the scoring scale for business credit only being up to 100, if you are penalized 10 points because of a late payment, it's going to have a much more substantial impact on your score than if you make a late payment on your personal credit profile. You have the range from 0 to 850 with personal credit, but that narrow Paydex score makes it very important to pay your invoices for your business on time. So that question would be false. There is no late payment for a grace period for business credit. And then another distinguishing factor between personal credit and business credit, you have the Fair Credit Reporting Act, but that only applies to personal credit. At any point, another business owner can get access to your DUNS number and find out what your business credit score is. So, for example, let's say two of you in the group want to partner up and do business. You all can check each other's business credit profile to determine, how well is this business owner paying their business, paying their bills, excuse me. So companies have to request permission to view your credit reports for your business. That is false. They can go out there anytime and find your DUNS number and find out how you're performing as a business credit-wise.
Can I ask you a question?
Definitely.
Melissa again.
Hi, Melissa.
I was trying to go on there and look at my business credit, and so I seen it was like they rated for like A, B, or C, or something like that, or something like right. Because I couldn't see the numerical. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
but I was able to see like my rating, but I wasn't able to see the actual number. And then when I went in to try to look at the number, they directed me to like a representative so to charge me pretty much just to show me my score.
Right. And I was kind of speaking to that earlier. What they're trying to do is avoid giving you the information that you should have free access to. So whoever you spoke with, um, they may have been just trying to sell you something, but there's a website out there. The website is nav.com. I'm not sure what website you went to find your scores, but Nav. Right. So yeah, that their website is going to almost always try to get you to pay for something to get access to that information. But if you go to nav.com, that's nav.com, you can actually access your reports for free. Now, these reports won't have everything on there. They're going to have a condensed version of what your scores are made up of, but you can at least find out what your scores are for free. Also, when you access that website, you may not have a score if you don't have a substantial enough business credit profile. So when you access the website, Melissa, it might just say no score represented, but that just means you don't have anything reporting yet, because they can't really determine what your score is unless you have accounts that are giving data to them to reference. So if you have an account, we'll just take Home Depot, for example. When you have an account with them, there's Dun & Bradstreet. You also have Business Experian. You have Business Equifax. And the different companies can choose who they want to report to. So not every company reports to Dun & Bradstreet. Not every company reports to Business Experian. Not every company reports to Business Equifax. So the three reports will look different a lot of times because you'll have accounts that are varying between which companies intend to report on your behalf. But Dun & Bradstreet, they tend to be the company that is going to have the most data on your business credit profile. But the information is free up to a certain amount of information. If you do want more in-depth reports, I do recommend Business Equifax. I use that on a monthly basis to track my scores, and it gives a lot more in-depth information than what nav.com will give to you.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Were there any more questions about just kind of the reporting aspect of business credit? Because that's the one of the most important things about building your profile is actually having data that is being reported. So Lowe's or Office Depot, all these companies out there, if they're not reporting to any of those three business credit reporting agencies, you'll continue to have either no score reporting or a very low score reporting. And that's what kind of trips people up actually building their business credit profile. Now, what I'll show you next is what you can do now as a business owner to kind of get your business set up on paper properly. That way, when companies are reporting information about you, you're giving them accurate and detailed information. I'll get to my next slide. And forgive me, I have a slight delay on my end. I'm not sure why that is, but it'll be pulled up here in a second. Hmm. There we go. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen now. And what I refer, what I consider this when I discuss this with business owners is the pre-funding period before you actually begin requesting lines of credit, requesting net 30 accounts, or just business funding in general. When you're trying to establish that business credit profile, there are some things you can do just to make sure you have this checklist done before you apply, which will increase your chances of actually getting approved for funding. So most of you all have already gone through the steps of creating that business entity and then getting your EIN established. We just talked about the DUNS number earlier in the presentation. Some states require some business licenses for your industry. I know, for example, here in Kansas, where I'm located, you don't have to have a business license to operate a property management company. So when I started my business, that wasn't required. But in Missouri, you do have to have a real estate license to run that exact same type of property management company. So definitely find out what your state's requirements are for your business license and permits before you get too far down the line. Also, having a business address. When I speak about business addresses, there are different types of addresses you can use. I use my home address. It hasn't prevented me from getting access in any way to funding. Other people choose to use virtual addresses. Your business might have a actual brick and mortar location. That's also acceptable. One thing you don't want to do is use a PO box. Most companies that give funding out don't really rely on PO boxes. They can't really verify who is behind that PO box as easily as they can a home address or some other type of address. Having your business bank account set up is very important. If you haven't already done that, you're at the point where you're still using personal funds to run your business. You want to separate those as fast as possible. I know we're in the tax season right now. Now's a good time to go ahead and get that account set up for your business if you haven't done that yet. That way, come next year's tax season, it will be much easier to find out and let your CPA know what expenses were for your business versus what expenses were just for personal. Having a business email address is very important. Just think about if you're trying to lend somebody money and all they give you is a Gmail account that you can't really verify who the account holder is because it's a free email account. If you have a GoDaddy domain or a Google Suite domain, they can actually track back through your payments who actually owns the account. That's why having a proper business email address is very important. Not just like a Hotmail or a Yahoo or a Gmail. You want to have a email address that's, let's just say, compass@investor.com or something like that. And then having a business phone number, that's very similar to the email address. If you have a personal cell number you're using as your business phone number, that personal phone number, again, that's tied to your social security number. It's not linked to your EIN number. That's very simple to get that corrected. Most cell phone providers, if you want to change your personal account to a business account, just let them know, and then they'll ask you for your EIN number, and they can easily change that account from personal to business. And then lastly, having your business information. So having the business phone number, the business email, and your business address in the 411 directory where they can actually verify you as the business owner. So those are some simple things you can do right now if you haven't done them yet to get that business credit profile foundation laid. And then as you're growing your profile, getting access to accounts with companies in your EIN number and in your DUNS number, that's what will build up your score because they'll be reporting your invoices and your payments, whether they be on time or late, to Dun & Bradstreet. Are there any other questions so far?
Hi, this is Robin. I have a question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Robin. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. I have a question about, I think you said earlier that you need to separate the funds for your business from your business and personal bank accounts. Now, how do you fund, what is your suggestion about funding? Do you loan yourself money or do you loan the business money? How do you do that? Or just deposit money in that business account?
That's definitely an option if you don't have any other sources of funding. I did that for a while. I would write a personal check made out to my business name, to my business account, and then deposit that check into the business account and then pay myself back. The thing about it is to make sure that you're providing a paper trail that way is documented, where the money's going. I know for real estate especially, they commingling of funds is a big no-no. So
I still not operating agreement. I just wanted to be sure how you're funding that, for my LLC.
Right. That's definitely an option. But the goal, of course, is at some point to get to that milestone where you've got everything aligned with your business, everything from the vehicles you drive to your commercial insurance, even your insurance for your business. I've got a commercial insurance that's in the business name, and my business is insured, not just using, my homeowner's insurance or any other insurance to rely on. You want to have assets in the business name, insurance in the business name, your vehicles in the business name. That way it's not linked in any way to your personal assets. But great question. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just to clarify, when I open my business account in this new LLC, I can initially fund it with a loan from me, but then I'm hoping I'm just operating from money I'm making in the business.
Right. And that's your choice to do that. Some people may have access to funds from their family that, they may have their family, loan them money to get their business started. But there are companies out there that will give you access to lines of credit in your business name at smaller amounts in the early stages. I was able to get approved for a business loan early in business. I might have been in business for a year, but they were able to use my bank statements, my actual business bank statements. So it's not just a gradual process of going from like 0 to 100, in overnight. What you're doing now is, getting that business account. That way, all your expenses are being fed through. You're getting documentation as in the form of bank statements for your business. That way, in 6 months, 9 months, or a year, you can take that to a bank and say, okay, I've got verifiable income with these bank statements. What can you all do in the way of a business loan? I know Tamika's mentioned to you all creativity, so funding is about creativity as well. They've got money out there. You just have to verify you can actually repay them. It might be a situation where you have to partner up with someone who has really good personal credit, and you have business credit, or you have assets to leverage. It's going to look different for every business owner. Mm-hmm. Good question, though.
I have a question.
Yes. Who's speaking? Just so I know who I'm talking to.
This is Phyllis.
Hi, Phyllis.
Hey. In regards to business address, and you don't want to use your personal, so what are some ideas?
Well, they have virtual addresses out there. There are a couple companies. There's Regus, this Regus, Regus.com. You also have Opus, that's OPUS.com. And they actually provide virtual addresses for business owners. I know the UPS store, they offer UPS store boxes. I mean, it's different than a PO box, but it's an actual UPS store box that looks like a regular address. I had one of those for a very short time. So there are other options. If you're concerned definitely for safety or just don't want your home address being out there, those are some options for you. I didn't really have an issue using mine because I didn't want to have to go anywhere to get packages. It's much more convenient for all my stuff to come to the house. So, but that hasn't prevented me from getting access to funds in my business name. I think I hear somebody, but I can't hear them clearly if they're asking a question. Okay. Okay. Another reason, while we're on it, at the, something just triggered in my mind. Again, with government contracting, if at any point you do want to do government contracting, having that DUNS number and having a solid business credit profile can be the difference between getting awarded that contract over someone else. If they're evaluating businesses and they see that you have a established business credit profile, they can actually qualify your business as paying their bills on time because of your DUNS number, your paydex score. That could be a reason they award that contract to you over someone else. Having your certifications, all the tools that you can have, you want to have. So the DUNS number, having certifications, women-owned business, minority-owned business, all those things can contribute to you getting access to capital. It's not solely just having that number. Is giving yourself as many ways as you can to get access to funds. There's tons of grants out there right now for business owners. I just came across some new grants just a few weeks back, but there's a grant that the state of Kansas had last year just for COVID relief for small business owners, and they were giving out grants for up to $20,000, I believe was the max amount, but all you had to do was provide them with your DUNS number, your business phone, your business address, and then reasons why and how you intend to use the funds. How are you affected and how do you intend to use the funds? But having that DUNS number was the difference between me having to give them my social security number and them linking that to my personal number versus just giving them my EIN number and my DUNS number and then keeping that information separate. So it's really a tool to use to not just fund your business, but grow your business. That way you don't put your personal assets at such a risk. Were there any additional questions about just the importance or kind of how to get started building your profile?
This is Dana. I have just one question.
Hey, Dana.
Hey, you mentioned getting grants. Are there always grants available? And if so, for your business and everything, and if so, how do you find these grants and what time of the year are these made available to apply for?
Well, to my knowledge, there's ongoing grants out there the entire year. There's websites you can go to actually find specific grants. I won't get into every single website, but I know there's sam.gov. Now, what sam.gov does, they're federal grants. If you're wanting to do business with the federal government, you have to register with sam.gov. That's why it's also important to have those the minority designations. That way they have grants that are for only women businesses or grants only for minority businesses. So if you're on the website, it will tell you what grants are in specific states at either the federal level. They do sometimes have state specific grants on the website, but you can go to the website and find out what's available.
Okay, also, I've seen posted, I believe, on Facebook where people will post and say they were able to get, let's say, a credit card and no PG. What is PG, and why is that, I guess, relevant?
The PG, that just means a personal guarantee, and why it's relevant. It is essentially what we're discussing here. You, the goal of having a established business credit profile is to get to the point where you don't need to PG anything. You're able to get lending solely on the business name and not linked to your social security number. That's what they mean. If you're PGing something, that means it's linked to your social security number. Mhm.
Thank you.
And just another question to think about when you're applying for lines of credit or business loans, you want to ask those banks or those lenders, do they intend to do a soft inquiry or a hard inquiry? Because that may oftentimes help you know if they intend to link that to your social security number or if they don't. But they should be able to tell you that up front before you actually apply for that line of credit or that loan.
If they do a hard inquiry, this is Phyllis.
Hi, Phyllis.
If they do a hard inquiry, does that any way negatively affect the reporting on for your DUNS number?
I mean, it's not anything. It's similar to any other inquiry for business.
But if it is,
I want to make sure I understand your question. So go ahead.
I'm not sure if I said it well. So if it's a personal guarantee,
Okay.
a loan that's a personal guarantee, whatever kind of loan it is,
Okay.
is that going to affect the reporting for the DUNS number, or would it only show up personally?
Oh, I see what you're saying now. That's going to be different based on every company. So we'll take, for example, a car loan. Let's say you're trying to get a car loan in your business name. So you're with the salesman and you ask them, will this be, a personal guarantee or will it not be? We'll just assume that it is a personal guarantee. So in that situation, on your personal credit report, that loan will show up. But then also, they still have the choice of will they report to Dun & Bradstreet or will they not? There's lots of companies out there that offer loans, that offer credit cards in the business name, but they never report anything to the business credit reporting agencies. So it's not really helping you build your profile for your business if all they're doing is kind of like just putting your business name on a card, just to make it look like you have a business credit card, quote unquote. But you can have a business car loan or a business loan, but it's still not be reporting on your business credit profile if that company chooses not to report. You just have to ask up front, in what ways will this be reporting? Do you all intend to report this loan on the personal side and the business side, or will it only show up on the personal side, or will it only show up on the business side? It can be a combination of those things. Oh, no problem, Phyllis. Yeah, that was a great question, because that can get very frustrating when you go to a bank and apply for a credit card. They say that, okay, we issue your credit card for your business now, and you start using it and then realize they're not reporting anything to any of the business credit reporting agencies. Great question.
This is Dana again.
Hey, Dana.
Hi. I know I've seen some people post where there's been suggestions made in order to build your business profile that started with getting like these net 30 or net accounts.
Yes.
And is that something that you advise as well, or?
Yes, that's definitely a way for a brand new business to get started that doesn't have, any previous business credit reporting history. There's some small accounts out there, and by small I mean they just have the least requirements to get an account with them. They're still, decent large size companies, but they have the most flexible requirements for accounts. So companies like Quill, um, companies like Granger, Uline, those companies, they most often sell home-based office or office-based supplies, printers, ink, paper, things like that. Granger, they're similar to like a True Value or Ace Hardware. They carry everything except like lumber and insulation, those larger items. But those are some good accounts to get started with, and then use those accounts for a period of time, which will help build your profile, but also help increase your business credit score. And typically, the reporting aspect of these companies, they don't always start to report on the very first invoice cycle. It may take them 1 or 2 invoice cycles to begin the reporting process. It also might be triggered by a certain dollar amount you're spending with them. But those are questions you can also ask them before you actually apply. That way, in every way how it will impact your profile, whether it be your personal side or your business.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Were there any other questions? I know we're coming up on, what, about 40 minutes or so we've been going. Okay. Well, if you do have additional questions that you couldn't think of, during this call, there's a few ways to get a hold of me.
I have a question.
Yes.
Before we end, this is Melissa. So I have Crowns, Quill, and a Net 30 account. I've been building on my business credit for about a year and a half now. So with NAV, I show like excellent credit for Duns and also another credit reporting site. So I get all kinds of, American Express offers, Discover offers. I even got like a Delta card offer because my credit is so good and I've been doing really well with it. But it's so crazy because yesterday I actually applied for the Blue American Express, the Blue card,
Okay.
and it was denied. So I don't know what happened. Maybe I didn't put correct information. Do you guys have any type of training on how to apply for these business credits so that we can actually get approved? Because it's being offered, but I don't know why I was denied.
Right. And that's also another hurdle to building your business credit profile. They can be secretive about what their requirements are to get approved. I'm not sure how long it's been since the denial, but they'll send you a letter and they'll be very kind of vague about the specific reason. Oh, okay. So you should be getting a letter at some point in the mail that will give you a reason why they denied you, but it's going to be a very generic reason why they didn't approve it. But what I coach people through, I help people through this program, and it just walks them through the process of how to get access to capital with these companies. It gives you a lot of the kind of the background information about how they're judging you before you even apply. So I'm able to show you how to do that, the program that I offer. And I've been working with a few clients now, most recently, and they've had success building their profiles, because it's helpful to know what the requirements are before you apply. So with this blue card, their requirement may have been, we want you to have a certain number of accounts reporting on your business credit profile before we approve you. The requirement could have been no inquiries in the last 6 months. It could have been any number of reasons, but they won't just tell you that up front. But the program that I've been coaching people through, it helps them to know before they even apply what the requirements are. That way you're not wasting your time and also wasting inquiries on your business.
Right. Okay. So that's the reason why I applied for that particular card, because it said it was a 99.9% match for my business type.
Right. And that's that website. That's them giving you their algorithm of their likelihood that they think you'll get approved for that card is still not 100%. That's why they have it 99.9. But that algorithm doesn't always give you like the specific nuances of what that company wants to see. It's just basing their percentage off of, let's say, your business credit score, along with how long you've been in business, let's say. It could be a variety of ways they're using the algorithms. Everything is so computer based now.
It was since 2016.
Yeah. So they're just pulling together whatever data's out there on your company, and they're spitting out a percentage of what they think and how they think you'll get approved and for what. But even that computer algorithm isn't 100% sure. That's why it's important to have someone to help you navigate the system, because the computer is very intuitive, but you can still sometimes, I won't say manipulate, but you can it's like flying a plane. You can put it in the autopilot and you'll get there, but you still want to have a pilot to land that plane. And that's the best way I can put it. You want to have someone there for the fine tuning. That way you don't crash that plane.
Yeah, because the email's still loading, and I got an email. Loaded, and the email said denied.
Yeah. I know it's frustrating. Yeah. Yeah, because the computer is just doing what it can do based on its computer knowledge, but we also have our own human knowledge that's still, going to outweigh what the computer says, so yeah. Great question though. Yeah, I get those same emails, and I've learned now not to apply. It's very tempting to apply because you figure, yeah, 99.9, I can't go wrong, but they didn't factor it into account, something that they can't quantify through the algorithm, so yeah, great question. Were there any other questions? Definitely, if you all have questions about how to, get into my coaching program, I will, there's my information at the bottom of the screen, but I'll also make sure that Tamika has my information to pass along if you all have, more specific questions. But I appreciate you all taking time out today to learn about business credit. And I know Tamika is giving you all the game. So let me know how I can help.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you all. You all have a great day. All right. Bye-bye.